Hey guys, and welcome to another workshop video. As always, I am joined by Madzuri.
Greetings.
And today we are going to cover, it's actually a little different process we're going to do today. We have two module builds submitted by Patrick, and he actually had some specific questions in regards to modules and just building in general, which we will answer. And then he also wanted us to compare and contrast these two builds. But there are a few things we need to go over first in regards to ratios and such, and I'll let Zuri take over for that.
All right. Well, the easiest ratio is the speed modules, which everyone seems to think works for all of them. You can have, what did I say, 1, 2, 4 or 2, 4, 8
Mm-hmm.
for the tier one or tier threes, tier twos, and tier ones. But this one has, it appears 6 to 4 to 1. So either you have too many of the, what is it, tier twos,
Yeah.
or something weird's going on.
Right. Yeah. The ratio isn't quite correct. In this case, yeah, there's either too much tier twos or not enough tier ones, and yeah, and then it.
At first glance, it seemed like they were trying to build exactly the right ratio for green circuits to tier ones, but green circuits is 2 per second, not 1 per second. So they're actually building twice as many green circuits here as they need.
Right, and me and Zuri talked before. It's definitely possible. We don't have all the info, but it's possible they did this just for symmetry. Having two rather than just one in the middle with some wonky insertion. But yeah. So ratios are a little off. But I mean, it would work. It would just not be really 100%.
And you do need a lot of tier one speed modules for a lot of other products. So it's a pretty good idea to overbuild the tier ones. But in this case, they're underbuilt, and that's not generally a good thing.
Yeah, and another interesting thing, which we'll also cover for the efficiency one, is that they've used for the tier 2, they've used actually a circuit condition to limit this rather than a logistics condition. And Zuri and I were trying to figure out really either one works, but it can be a little confusing to be using logistics conditions and circuit conditions. We feel it would have been totally fine to just use a logistics condition here and not as confusing, but
Yeah, either way works fine.
right.
But mixing them adds a little bit of complexity to it doesn't need to be there, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So then down here, the same thing with the circuit network and logistics we went over, but then also these ratios are also a little bit off as well.
Yeah, for productivity and efficiency modules, you need a 2, 5, 10 ratio. And this is almost like a speed ratio if they had another tier 3 here, but they don't.
Right.
And that's something very confusing, is that the level 3 modules have different recipes.
Yeah, that can throw off a lot of people. That the efficiency and productivity actually take 5 of the previous level, whereas the speeds only take 4. And if you don't really pay attention to the recipes, it can throw off your ratios quite a lot if you just assume they're all the same.
Yeah, all that means is that the top tier doesn't get produced as much as you think it would. But in this case, we only needed 2.5, which is a weird number. So I'll let it slide to make it symmetrical.
Right. Yeah. Symmetry can be okay to change ratios a bit. And then going to their direct questions, the questions Patrick had is initially he asked to just compare and contrast these builds. You can't really compare and contrast the module types themselves, like the builds, because they're different. Like they take different ratios to begin with. But we're assuming he just means the build type in regards to like having circuits built here indirectly inserted, opposed to the completely logistics requested in build here. And Zuri, you said that either way pretty much works, right?
Yeah, either way it works. I've seen some really ingenious direct insertion builds for all the modules, and we have plenty of them actually in the Earth map.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So either way can work. And then they just had two more quick questions. The first one is the question is there even a point in building any complex layouts once you have robots? So I guess it seems a little vague, but because with robots, since you just literally just need like two chests, I think a lot of people just go to designs like we have here where it's literally just like columns of stuff. So the question, it's just, is it even worth it, or any reason to build a more complex design opposed to just rows of stuff like this?
Well, the ones using the Earth map are actually pretty complex with a lot of direct insertion,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm actually quite fond of those. Seeing as how you can't put productivity modules in here, so it's kind of pointless to beacon these. You can make really complex, nifty looking designs with direct feed, and that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, and they're really quite like the ones we had on Earth map. They're really quite space efficient as well.
And perfect ratios and all that jazz. It's nice.
Yeah. So definitely still a reason to do that if you want to. And then kind of leading into that, the second question they had was, looking at a regular mid game, would you want to build modules without having robots to assist? So, kind of asking if you want to even get into modules if you're still using belt fed stuff, or if you want to wait until you have robots.
It's absolutely fine to do belt builds for. I would do them for the level one speed and efficiency modules, because early game efficiency modules win for power,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to compared to cost for solar panels in space. Efficiency modules ones are just awesome.
Yeah, they're really, really nice.
And you need a lot of speed modules for a lot of other things. And so before you can get bots up and going, it's useful to have efficiency and speed module ones being produced somewhere by belt.
Right. Yeah, so that's a very good point. And then once you get into the level like 2 and 3, like the full production line, you could do it with belts, but depending how big of a build you do, Zuri had mentioned to me that it gets kind of difficult to feed all the circuits and stuff you need to these guys with belts, and then also just the logistical challenge of getting it there can be kind of annoying with belts.
Yeah, there's the belt buffering for the circuits and the modules on the belts is not pleasant. I don't recommend doing so. So yeah, for the higher tiers, I highly recommend using bots.
Yeah, definitely. It's much smoother, easier to set up, and really that does it. So I hope Patrick and anyone else that we answered questions you had and kind of enlightened you with the ratios if you didn't know before. But yeah, there you go. So something a little different today, but hopefully it helped. And unless Zuri has any last thoughts, I think that'll do it.
No, that's everything, I think.
Alrighty, sounds good. So, as always, guys, thanks for watching. Hope it was helpful. Leave your feedback and submissions down in the comments. And until next time, we will catch you later.
Later.